Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Tony Jean, and this is Guitar Basics. The reason I call it Guitar Basics is because there's only the basics that you need to play well and owning the music. And this is what I'm saying. How you go about your practice, that instead of performing all the time, you want to use repetition. So here's an example. You're learning a piece and there's difficult sections within that piece, right? So your idea is just to try and play the notes as best as possible. Now, here's the other thing. You can take that piece of music, whether you're looking at a sheet music or you're orally learning it. Let's just say you have an audio recording of it. Then you can learn it that way also. So here's the example I'm going to give. Instead of, let's say, flying through it, I don't even have my pick. So instead of just flying through it, let's just say you're learning chords, right? Learning different shapes. Instead of flying through it, right? You'll wanna so it seems like I just pause through each section, but that is a relation between my brain and my hands that I'm trying to ingrain. My eyes are viewing. So that little motion has been ingrained in my gesture, and it'll sound the same each time because within the practice there's no performance, because I've stripped away all the fun, stripped away the dynamics. I've stripped away all the articulation. So what this help does is it helps me to understand the inner workings of the piece. So let's say you want to learn a lick. You want to learn a lick. You know, you heard everything just ringing all over the place, right? So let's just say, hey, okay, I'm gonna spend about 5 minutes just working on this. You can do it that way, or before I go into the rest of the lick, just work on those groupings of notes. And then whenever I feel comfortable, I move on to the next section. It could be the next day or the next week. Because when you're learning to perform a song, you have to know everything about that piece. The chords, and where is it going, and that way everything else will just fall into place. Dynamics, articulation, what is the song trying to convey. And so the listener it can feel what you're saying, despite you may be playing it a little different than the other person. No one ever plays Voodoo Child the same way. Stevie Ray Vaughan has a version. Jimi Hendrix, John Mayer, they have their way to play Voodoo Child. It'll be different. Rhythmically, it'll be different. Dynamically, it might be different. So, take it in consideration when you approach a piece. You may know the time signature. You may know what key it's in. You may know the tempo. You may know the rhythm. But strip those all away. Strip those all away and then get to know the piece. Because then you can understand where it's going theoretically. Like it may have a sequence. Like in this something I fool around with. So I'm just gonna start here instead of the beginning. It's just going in cycles until I reach a point of resolution, and then I'm back at 1 or the beginning. So just sitting there, stripping everything apart, looking at what you can kind of change, the fingering, all this important stuff. And it sounds like I'm talking piano talk because I played piano for 20 years. And I'm taking what I learned from piano and applying it on guitar. Even though guitar is like so much different than piano. There's so much that you can do on guitar than you can do on piano. But fact of the matter is, we go back on guitar. I'm not talking about piano. that might be another video. But any instrument, frankly, any instrument, you can use this technique, because what you're doing is ingraining and leaving its impression in your mind, basically, so that when you perform, you can be cognitive of what you're doing. So you have a hand to mind relationship, like your finger's doing what it's doing, your mind's going, okay, that looks great, okay, here's what you got to do next, and then you do it. Because you already learned the choreography. You already learned all the coordination and how your fingers are supposed to move, what notes need to be played, how they need to be played, and where you're going to next. So this is what this video was about. Just basically giving you my advice and my take on how I approach music. And usually a performance, like a new piece, preparation, and the time length and everything, about 6 months. You can take longer with the piece. So I hope that helps. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, comment if you have any questions. And that's it. Guys, have a great day. See you next time.